is the winds have come down a little bit. They're at our camera location now, averaging 5 miles an hour, gusting to 11. But boy, it is. This is some tropical rainfall right here, Drew.
Yeah, it is, Bill. And we should be at. We just turned on some of our streams to some of our social platforms as well. So we should be live now on Facebook, also on a kind of a separate YouTube stream, on Twitch, also on X as well. So if anybody's just now joining us from those platforms, we are covering a tornado warning in Baldwin County. I'll go ahead and switch us back over to the radar again. We're looking at our Orange Beach camera here, trying to find this potential tornado that we're seeing here on the radar here that is located just over Orange Beach at this point. And what you're seeing here on the radar now is a shear marker that our Barron link system here is basically identifying fairly strong circulation. You don't typically see these if there's not a fairly strong circulation. Still doesn't necessarily mean there's a tornado on the ground, but when we see these, we definitely gets our attention a little bit as far as what might be happening with this. Now I'm going to go ahead, because it's sort of in the way, I'm going to just turn that off for now, but we'll kind of turn it back on as we monitor things here. But again, as we're looking at this, Canal Road, Park Drive, those are some of the areas that the circulation is over right now. Josephine there, kind of on the northern edge of the Bay, Perdido Beach, you're very nearby. Fish Trap Road, Navy Road, County Road 20 is all roads, Archie Road, County Road 26, Mifflin, all these areas are very close to where this potential tornado is located at this point. And so you want to be in your safe spot if you're in those areas. And again, we're kind of just doing a quick check of the latest from the Weather Service, not seeing any official reports or anything. And I'll switch back over to our, we're not seeing any debris yet. So it's good that we're not getting indications so far or any official confirmation that this is on the ground. And again, just kind of putting it through time here. You definitely see a little bit of a hook still in this. Let me just do this real quick.
Yeah, that rotation has really tightened up just to the east of Orange Beach there, right in the vicinity of that Perdido Pass camera location. Through the Weather Service kind of tightened up that tornado warning just a little bit. It's got about 20 minutes to go.
Yep.
The circulation has sort of slowed down a little bit. It's kind of become rather stationary right in that area, but it kind of cycling through. It could produce another tornado, at any minute right in that same area. So we want everybody to remain vigilant right there east of Orange Beach, over the bridge, over the state line into the Perdido Key areas just north of there. We want you to remain in your safe place as we continue to monitor this tornado in southern Baldwin County. Tornado warning for another 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Let's see, and I'm just seeing this is not a report, but we do have a sky watcher, Brandon Woods, who I guess is normally in Gulf Shores, but it looks like he's north of Orange Beach right now, and he is not seeing any indications of tornado to this point. So we will continue to monitor his reports as we continue to watch this tornado warning. And like Bill mentioned, it is looks like, and I'll go ahead and stop that motion real quick, that they've kind of pared it down the warning just a little bit. It's still valid for about another 20 minutes. And so we'll continue to watch it here, and hopefully they eventually allow this to either expire or maybe they cancel it, because we don't get any reports of anything actually on the ground. And if the circulation weakens, it definitely, the velocity values that we were seeing earlier, I think were definitely a little bit higher than we're currently seeing with the inbound velocities. I'll do a couple of queries real quick on that, and we'll just double check to make sure I'm right on that. It's still, significant. You're still near severe thunderstorm warning criteria there, around 55, 56 miles per hour. So, still expect that you've got some really gusty winds there in that part of Orange Beach, Nono Island, and the bay back there in Perdido Beach, but it's not quite what it was when it was still just lurking right there offshore as it is right now. So again, we'll continue to watch it, but I'd say I don't know, to me at least, Bill, the coupler here looks a little bit not as tight. I'd say we still got rotation happening here, but it to me looks like maybe we're not quite as tight with that as we've been previously. So that would be good if that's the case.
Yeah, we'll take that, Drew, for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're right on that last scan. Definitely broad rotation still there. No debris. We're in an area where you don't, I guess, have as much vegetation that could become debris.
Right.
But we have a lot of, infrastructure that could be debris there. Obviously, still structurally, this storm is very impressive, and lots of broad rotation. It could, produce another tornado at any minute. And we know these storms have a history. Just looking at some video from Gautier in Mississippi earlier, and that's some very impressive. Look at this, Drew. If you can look over your shoulder, that's tornado video from Gautier that everybody will be looking at later today when that gets out all over social media. But you're right, the rotation has substantially decreased there near and east of Orange Beach. Maybe this thing is kind of becoming a little occluded, Drew, and that would be great. We know that this marine warm front is just on shore, and that's the boundary that these storms are taking advantage of. They're rotating over the Gulf, they're spinning, and when they get up to this boundary, that's where they're, producing these little mini spinners. And as they cross the boundary, they start to run out of the energy that they need to survive, and that's great news. So let's keep this little maritime warm front to the south. We knew the area that would be covered would be fairly small, but still, we have a lot of friends and a lot of neighbors that are that are living in Baldwin and Mobile counties, Alabama. It's a great place to live, and it's a great place to vacation. And it can be very vulnerable to severe weather. Drew, I do a lot of weather history. And this time of year, I'm constantly talking about tornadoes that are coming in on shore into this part of the coastline and producing damage.
Yeah, absolutely. That does seem to be, you get climatologically, you do get a few of them around this area this time of year. So one other thing I wanted to look at real quick, and we just want to keep an eye on. No warning for Mobile County currently, but you do have a cell that's got a tornado warning on it in Jackson County, Mississippi, that's right there on the doorstep. So I'm going to just do a quick zoom in on that and check that one out real quick. Oops, sorry, I'm drawing more stuff on the map here. So we're going to zoom into that. So again, right now, and I'm hoping they're going to allow that to, maybe it's started to weaken some here as it gets further to the north. But we're going to take a quick look at the rotation here with that. Yeah, it's not super strong, and so we'll see if the Mobile Weather Service decides to move that over into Mobile County, but it's not looking there's definitely still some rotation in this area right here, but it's not as strong as it probably was further to the south when they first issued the warning there, and so we'll keep an eye on that one. But that one's really close to the state line, and so let me clear that off real quick. And that's just to the northwest of Grand Bay. So Grand Bay itself, you're not going to have any issues with this because this is going to go to the northwest of you. But basically just to the north of I-10 and also further north from 90 that runs through Grand Bay. But if you're in some of the neighborhoods that are just to the north of I-10, Old Pascagoula Road, looks like Grand Bay, Wilmer Road, some of those roads that are near the state line, Fort Lake Road, some of those areas right there in far western Mobile County, near the community of Dees, that's going to be where this is moving into here shortly. So even if there's no tornado warning issued immediately, there's still something we'll have to monitor for this area to make sure we keep an eye on it in case they do happen to issue a warning. But at this point, you're basically getting some heavy rain in some of those areas, and again, we're getting beneficial rain in a lot of the kind of the western part of the state right now this morning, which has been really good. So, kind of the net outcome, I think, hopefully from this is that we just get good rain, but we would prefer to try to avoid the tornado warnings if we can. But, obviously, weather doesn't always want to play nicely with that kind of thing. And when you get this time of year, a lot of times you're going to end up, when you get this sort of a change and get rain coming in when it's been dry, then that's just kind of how it goes sometimes, especially as we move further towards November. We're in late October now. We're getting almost to November, which is kind of the start of our tornado season as we ramp up towards the spring, but really kind of things truly get started. And so, yeah, we're, just less than a week out from that. And so we'll obviously be having more and more of these kind of things as we get deeper into the fall and eventually into the winter. So taking another look here at the warning. So we've still got about 13 minutes left on the warning. Don't know if we've got any. Let's see here. I've got to see an update from the Weather Service in Mobile that the circulation is not nearly as defined now. It's hovering along the warm front. They're going to keep the warning for now, but they're going to reassess on the next radar scan. This is something they just posted in the last minute or so. So like we've talked about, it's like these things are spinning up right along the front. And in this case, this was almost trying to kind of just cycle right along the front here. And sort of develop new circulations further to the south. We'll kind of switch back over to the velocity product again and see what's happening with this last few scans. Yeah, it's still kind of it's interesting how the rotation continues to stay in a very similar spot. It's not moving a whole lot, and again, that would seem to indicate that the warm front is right there nearby. And the fact that you've got, it's not peak season, but you got plenty of people down in Orange Beach. And so the fact that we're not hearing of tornado on the ground right now is still a good sign, obviously. We'll double check. I don't see anything new from our Skywatcher Brandon Woods down in Orange Beach. Let's see. And again, we're just kind of waiting to see if the Weather Service is going to continue this or now. But again, still we're under that in the polygon in those areas of Orange Beach and Josephine and kind of just the immediate area kind of surrounding the Perdido Pass within a few miles of that. I'll just reiterate again that Gulf Shores, you're not in the polygon right now. Fort Morgan, you're not in the polygon right now. Foley, you are not. The storm doesn't look like it would be that far west as it goes further inland. And like we've mentioned, it certainly looks like as these move further inland that they're less likely to have a tornadic circulation, at least at this point of the morning. Now, things could change some throughout the course of the day. If the warm front's able to penetrate a little bit further to the north, we'll keep an 't eye on that. But Bill, do you have an update?
Yeah, really your next storm is that one that's about 8 miles south of Gulf Shores. 8 miles south of Gulf Shores, Drew. It's got a little bit of spin to it. It's not as strong as this one that came on shore. They're just near and east of Orange Beach. But, I worry about it a little bit as it approaches the warm front. So, we'll kind of keep an eye on it. You see a little bit of rotation there, and it's the lightning seems to be ramping up. Doesn't have real good structure on it to me now, but and back to the west, there's one more that's spinning kind of, a little bit to the southeast of Fort Morgan there. But we'll be watching these, Drew, because this is exactly what we thought was going to happen today. And that one's probably our next one to keep an eye on. Would you agree?
Yeah, Bill, I definitely agree that that's the next one that as it gets further to the north, it may tighten up a little bit. If the front has kind of lifted a little bit further north, it looked like earlier that maybe it was still offshore, but it kind of feels like it might have come a little bit further to the north here in the last hour or two. Now, it does look like the Weather Service is expiring the tornado warning, so that is good news. Don't see it reflected in our system just quite yet. I'll stop the lapse here so we can see whenever that goes away. But I'll read off. Let's see what we get in our text from that now with the expiration of the warning. Yeah, so let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing any additional text now on it. Or no, there it is. Yeah, so it's the storm prompted the warnings weakened below severe limits, no longer appears capable of producing a tornado, so they're letting it expire. So yeah, definitely it certainly looks like, as we've talked about, that circulation had broadened quite a bit in the last 5 or 10 minutes. And so certainly good news and not totally unexpected. This is kind of doing what we were thinking. But you can see here, yeah, it's definitely very broad now. I mean, overall, I'd say the whole thing is kind of still rotating a little bit, but it's very broad at this point. And so very good to see that they are going to allow that to expire. And that is what we want to see, obviously, whenever we get one of these. But yeah, looking better over Orange Beach at this point. We'll stick with it here for a little bit longer to just kind of give an overall assessment of where we are currently. And then if we stay without a warning for a little bit longer, we'll go ahead and head back to our normal programming setup here. And as Bill mentioned, we'll continue to watch these circulations that are offshore. We're hoping that generally as they get, they'll kind of fall apart or not do a whole lot. But that's just something we'll have to continue to monitor. Obviously, further to the west, there has been a history of actual tornadoes on the ground, so it's possible. Now the environment's a little bit more conducive further to the west. I think the warm front had made it a little bit further north inland when those happened earlier than what we've seen in our area. But certainly we'll continue to monitor that, and we still don't see that tornado warning here. Let me see when that one's set to expire. So that one in Jackson County, Mississippi, is set to expire just in the next 7 minutes or so. Certainly, I mean, I'm still seeing a little bit of rotation. If I zoom in on this, there's still something there, but doesn't look super concerning. Still fairly broad. The reflectivity on the storm is not super impressive on this either. So, it appears there's not current plans to send that warning into Mobile County, and we'll see if Mobile Weather Service is saying anything about it. They haven't really mentioned much about this one, to be honest, so we'll take that as a good sign. Mostly been focused on the one there near Orange Beach, understandably, and so that is good, but we will continue to keep an eye on that one near the state line as well. And we'll kind of take a quick look back again at for some reason we're not getting it dropping on our system yet, the expiration. I'm not sure if it didn't come through properly, but do see that on our chat with the Weather Service. So I think we're good to say that tornado warning has expired, even though I don't see it dropping off of our system quite yet. I'll go ahead and move a little bit further towards the north here. So again, like we've talked about, the good thing about this right now is we're getting some beneficial rainfall in the area here. We're especially further to the north where it's been very, very dry, and we've had some of the extreme drought. We're definitely doing pretty well. Looks like further to the north. I'll switch it on to maybe just our kind of overall U.S. radar here, just kind of take a state view real quick. And let's see if that warning dropped out. But you can see that there's at least light rain kind of extending all the way from Mobile and Baldwin County all the way to the state line. Lighter showers in parts of the Birmingham area. There's not much on the eastern side of the state yet, but places like Demopolis are seeing some pretty good rainfall right now. Livingston, up to Utah. Aliceville's about to get some soon. Thomasville has seen some good rain. Butler. And so, yeah, a lot of these west central Alabama counties are getting kind of just what the doctor ordered. And up this far north, at this point, we don't really expect issues with severe weather. We're a little bit too far north of that warm front. The instability is a lot lower. We've got drier air in place further to the north. And so, for that part of the state and further to the north, this is just going to be beneficial rain. Not to say we couldn't get a few rumbles of thunder here and there, but that's kind of what we're expecting here. So I'll take a quick look at so again, just to kind of reiterate the current SPC risk. And I don't know, Bill, I would have to double check if they extended that slight risk further north than they had it before.
It goes just north of I-10 right now in Mobile and Baldwin counties, so about up to the Robertsdale-Summerdale area. It's not quite up to I-65, and then into the Panhandle, kind of over to Panama City. So, I think it has expanded a little further to the north. I haven't looked at the actual, actual product, but I think before it just barely came up to I-10. And now it extends a little further north, still not very far into the state, so not a substantial change, and kind of about what we thought. But it maybe extends a little further east too than it did this morning.
Yeah, and I'm looking now, and they did so an update just came out at 11:10 Central. So yeah, that is what we're seeing there is a new update from the Storm Prediction Center on the severe weather risk. It doesn't look like the marginal risk, the green there. I don't see a lot of difference in that from what it was before. But the slight risk itself, the yellow, the level 2 risk, has expanded a little bit further towards the north. Now, as far as the tornado watch, again, at this point, we only have the tornado watch that is for Mobile and Baldwin counties. Those are the only 2 counties in the state that are within a watch right now, and that goes until noon, which, that's just in the next 30 minutes. Seems likely to me that could get extended because we're still watching some rotating thunderstorms in the area. But again, we'll kind of see what Mobile decides to do with that, because I think we're still within the realm of possibility of some of these cells that are offshore being a problem, and anything that's come on shore already, the one in Orange Beach that could cycle potentially and could still have some rotation to it. And again, some of the cells coming in from the west, from Mississippi, have had a history of rotation. But generally, as things have moved to the east, I'll just kind of scroll back through here. Yeah, so like if you just kind of look, this was back 2 hours ago when you had a confirmed tornado warning in Jackson County, Mississippi. Again, it was right there on the doorstep. Then you move forward in time, and not long after it kind of gets into Alabama, things weakened quite a bit. So again, we're kind of right there on the area where we've got the warm front and we're getting some dry air in place. Now it looks like we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning that they've now issued for Baldwin County. I would assume it's probably for this same storm here to kind of more or less replace the tornado warning. And like I mentioned, we still got a tornado warning for some reason. I think it's probably going to drop out in like a minute or so. It looks like the expiration didn't come through here, so we still have that flashing red polygon showing up on the map, even though it's no longer in effect. But it should drop off here in probably a minute or less. But it looks like the new severe thunderstorm warning is this one right here that extends from basically still Orange Beach. And I'll try to, we got a lot of polygons on the map right now, so I'm going to try to just circle a few, or I'll try to outline this polygon real quick. I believe this is the new one, kind of roughly right here. So again, Orange Beach, Josephine, Perdido Bay, Lillian, some of the same areas that we've been talking about already, still underneath a severe thunderstorm warning that extends now until 12:15. And let me just make sure I have that selected properly here. Yeah, so for Baldwin County until 12:15. So again, we don't have a warning for Mobile County at this point. It's still under the tornado watch. So all of our warnings are still within kind of southeastern Baldwin County at this point. And I'm going to actually turn that marine warning off just to not confuse things. I think that's probably going to be for the best at this point. There we go. That'll make it a little bit easier to see what's going on the map here as far as that severe thunderstorm warning in this area. So, I mean, lots of heavy rain for sure is what we're seeing here right now. And I'll switch back onto the velocity. And, even though we don't see as much rotation right now, I mean, you still do have some gusty winds there, especially kind of we're right on top of Perdido Beach basically at this point. So it's getting pretty gusty there along Perdido Beach kind of as we speak. And you see we're still sampling. Now we're a little bit, about 1,500 or so feet off the ground here with where we're sampling these winds. But I'd say, very possible we're getting 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts with this area right here near Perdido Beach, and then again going towards US 98, mainly east of Alberta. And Alberta, you're not in that polygon right now. You're just kind of to the west of that. And it does look like they've, now that we hit 11:30, we've lost some of that additional kind of clutter on the map. Our tornado warning has dropped off out of there. That old, I think, severe thunderstorm warning has now disappeared. And so it's a little bit clearer to look at, which is always kind of helpful. Another thing we haven't really talked about yet, and I'll switch back to reflectivity to talk about that, and we might show a few more products, is the rain part of this. So, obviously, if we have tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, we're talking about wind threats and tornado threats, but the rain is certainly an issue here. We're getting lots of heavy rain over a fairly short period of time. So that green polygon to the west is, let me see if I can get it to pop up and not show a tornado watch, is an aerial flood advisory that was issued a while back, and it's still valid until 1:30. Now, a lot of the heavier rain has moved east of that particular polygon. Wouldn't be surprised if we get more of that, some sort of flood advisory, or eventually possibly could get a flash flood warning potentially for some of these areas where you've now got rain falling currently that it's been very slow moving and it's been raining really heavily for a while now. So, flash flooding is certainly one of the threats that we're also tracking for today, because some of these storms are going to end up going over the same place for longer periods of time, it looks like, and either not move a whole lot or at least kind of train over the same areas. And so that can be, not good as far as the flooding portion of things here, but don't see anything other than that flood advisory currently for that. So that is good, at least at this point. See, Bill, do you have anything new?
One interesting note from our friends at the Weather Service in Birmingham, Jim Westland, pointing out that we might have a gravity wave developing in eastern Mississippi coming into west central Alabama, there between Columbus and Meridian. So it, Drew, could affect parts of Pickens down through Sumter County. So we might see some strong gusty winds moving into places like Tuscaloosa, Demopolis over the next couple of hours. So we'll be watching that. We've already got gusty winds all over the state, and this pressure gradient that's developed today, gusting 20, 25 miles an hour at times. But we might see some gusts 35, 40 miles an hour in addition to, the activity we have over South Alabama. We'll be watching that, Drew, to see what evolves over time with that.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. It's something we'll have to we'll be continuing to watch, obviously, and it could be that we're fairly confined to this general area here as far as the severe weather threat. I mean, some of the models have shown some possibility of getting a little bit more instability further to the north into further up into the southern part of the state than just the coastal counties. Later on this afternoon. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully, again, we'll keep just rainfall everywhere. That's what we're really rooting for with this, that we can sort of keep that severe weather threat fairly marginal and confined. If we can just keep it out in the Gulf, that'd be great. Just give us heavy rain where we need it. But yeah, that is what we're seeing here currently. And I'll just we'll kind of expand out. No warnings or anything like that valid anywhere else. Again, we're not expecting any issues with any of that in kind of the northern, 3/4 or more of the state for today. It's just going to be beneficial rain that we're looking at. And it's really just down here in the southwestern corner that we're going to be watching the thunderstorms as we move on through the later part of the morning here and then into the afternoon as we hit noon here shortly. Kind of zoom back in real quick to our severe thunderstorm warning and inspect it again real quick and see where things are. So again, velocity still elevated a little bit, no real rotation that looks super strong. This is a look at our rotation detector product here, which kind of gives you an idea sometimes of kind of the strength of rotation. And as we look back in the last hour or so, you can see that it definitely looks stronger. You get some of those reds. When you get into the red there, that's pretty strong rotation. Again, doesn't indicate you've got a anything on the ground, but we definitely had some stronger rotation in the storm. But now, as we look at it, you're kind of in that darker green, and so this is just more information that we use to help us to interpret the storms here. Now, I do see it looks like they just like we were talking about in the last few minutes. Let's see if I can get it to pop up here. I think the tornado watch is going to mess me up here. Let me turn off our tornado watch. But we got a new flood advisor, it looks like, Bill. Do you see that?
Yeah, I was seeing some 3-inch rainfall amounts there around Orange Beach over the last 3 hours, Drew. So that's a lot of rain. And we were seeing that on the cameras. Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, the visibility was almost zero with these heavier rain cells as they've moved on shore. So you can see it now extending back to the southwest on the radar. All the way from US 98, from Alberta, between Alberta and Lillian, back through Orange Beach into the Gulf. It is raining to beat the band right now, and that's going to continue for the next several hours. It's going to take till probably 5 or 6 o'clock, wouldn't you think, Drew, for this heavy rain to kind of slide further eastward. And you know, one of the next concerns we'll have as we approach the noon hour is whether the Weather Service in Mobile will extend the tornado watch. And corresponding with our good friend Morgan Berry at the Weather Service in Mobile, she says they're going to talk to the SPC and decide whether to do that or not as we approach the 12 o'clock hour. Likely it won't extend any further inland, which is good news, but it could be extended eastward. And of course, Drew, as you know, they have the option to just locally extend that watch in time and area, and that's a really good innovation with the watch process. And I think you were talking about earlier why that warning didn't disappear. I don't think they ever formally did the housekeeping in the system that would have made it disappear. They just kind of told us that it was expiring, so that's kind of why it didn't fall off our system. But yeah, it's going to be this kind of afternoon. Lots of heavy rain, these occasional spinners, and we'll be right here. This is what we do at the New Alabama Weather Network. This is why we were created. This is our state. This is why we do this, because we want to keep our people safe, and we want you. If you're watching this, you're one of us. You're one of these folks that really cares about the weather. We want you to teach those folks around you to equip themselves, because if you have information, Drew, that's the best way to keep you and your family and your friends and your coworkers and your neighbors safe.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. And that's, as Bill was saying, we're kind of building a community here too. So we're, with our Sky Watchers and all of you who are watching us, we're all the reports that you were able to send in really help us. And that's, I think, like we were talking about earlier with when we had the tornado warning in Orange Beach. Of course, when you got the tornado warning, you take cover, and we're going to respect that. But the fact that we weren't getting a lot of reports, we know that we've got lots of people that would send us, that we can rely on, that are going to send us information, that kind of situation, and that if there was something happening, we'd know pretty quickly typically. So that's one of the things that we appreciate with everyone here. Now, taking a look at what we're looking at right now, we've had it up for a little bit now. This is our quad box showing multiple products at the same time here. So a pretty cool look at some different aspects of the storm. So, of course, we're taking a look in the top right quadrant at our velocity products, and you can see again how there is less of the red in the green. There's more just green now, which means the rotation has weakened, and that's why we don't have a tornado warning anymore. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning. We talked about the rotation detector product a little bit earlier in the the bottom left corner, and it's looking a little weaker as well, but then of course the problem is in the top left and bottom right. We've got lots of rain still falling, and we've got rain totals that are now getting over 2 inches just over the last few hours, and it looks like the Weather Service in Mobile said that there are some personal weather stations that have gotten over 2.5 inches already. And then we've saw the emergency manager in Orange Beach had a 2 inch an hour rain rate, and it looks like they might have gotten 5.75 inches already, according to a Davis weather station at the Orange Beach City Hall.
I can believe it. And our Barron model was showing this yesterday, and I was kind of chuckling a little bit at it, Drew, because you didn't want to think that, a couple of runs could indicate that, but it was absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll switch on the rain totals here on our links 2 here, and we'll kind of take a quick look at some of those real quick while we got an opportunity here. So yeah, so this is just the past hour is the totals that we're seeing, and I'll kind of zoom out a little bit, and that's definitely where you've seen the heaviest rain is right there, kind of over Orange Beach. Had a little bit of a heavier downpour just along the state line west of Bayou La Battery, but the main bulk of it in the last hour has been basically right over Perdido Pass and Orange Beach, where we've had that tornado warning. We'll do a quick query of that, see what it's showing us. Looks like the heaviest of that. Okay, so this is a mixture of a radar estimate and also some rain gauge correction in there, and it's estimating potentially over 3 inches. So yeah, we got some gauge readings over almost getting close to 6 inches. So I think this is probably a pretty good estimate here that some of the heaviest rain has received that much just in the last hour. If we go up to the last 3 hours, now we're getting up to, around 4.5 inches or so. They're right around Orange Beach. So again, it's been very rainy in that area. And then the area earlier, and I'll go ahead and see if I can do one over there too. So where this flood advisory to the west was issued, you had a little swath here west of Foley, closer to the bay, that got closer to 2.5 inches over the last 3 hours. But you can certainly see that the heavier rain now has kind of shifted over towards the east there, and it looks like we may have a flash flood warning now that has been issued with that.
Brand new flash flood warning for Baldwin County now, Drew, just came out from the Weather Service in Mobile. It goes until 2:45, between 2 and 4 inches of rain already, and another 1 to 3 inches to go.
Yep. So they went ahead, and I guess with some of those reports there from the Sean Brumley, the emergency manager there in Orange Beach, of that 5.75 inch rain total. Also, he reported water over the roads in many locations, but no road closures. And so I think that helped the Weather Service make the decision to go ahead and upgrade that to a flash flood warning once getting those reports in. So yeah, that's why we now have that flash flood warning in effect. So again, there's lots of reasons to not be out and about right now in the Orange Beach area or just anywhere along the coast. Just it's raining hard. There's been circulating, been rotating thunderstorms around, but obviously no need to be driving around right now where you might have where you have flooded roads in the area. Don't need to be trying to drive through any flooded roads. We want to certainly avoid any of that for sure, and just kind of take it easy. It's I think everybody, I'm sure, who's down there realizes this isn't going to be a nice beach day or anything like that. So just kind of take it easy, watch us, keep an eye on things. But, it's going to definitely be kind of an indoor sort of day, I think, for most of the Alabama Gulf Coast as this rain comes through here. And, I guess still most of the state needs a lot of this rain. This particular area actually has had some fairly heavy rain in recent weeks at times. There's been dry spells in between, but there actually, there's been a few other times that I feel like at least one time just in the last month or so that we had another heavy rainfall event right in this kind of area of Baldwin County, I think. So there's actually been a decent amount of rain here, more than other parts of the state in recent times. I'm going to pull up, we haven't looked at the cameras in a while, so I'm just going to kind of pull up some of our cameras. So now we're looking at the Gulf Shores camera here. I'm assuming we're looking, I'm going to just double check myself. I know we're looking generally south because we're looking out into the Gulf. I'm going to double check kind of which direction we're looking at with this. And let's see here. And Bill, let me know if there's any, I see there's some possible video of a tornado.
Yeah,
I don't know if we got
it racked up for you here, okay. Drew. In just a second, I should have that up.
Okay. So we once we can get that queued up, we'll try to show that to you here. I'm also seeing from our John Oldshoe, who is down in the coastal, down in Baldwin County, heard of a 57 mile per hour wind gust from Jeff Jacobs Station on the east side of Ono Island. So that, again, that's right there where you had that potential tornado, or at least that tornado warning and that circulation that was happening was right there. It went over Ono Island, basically, at least the circulation did. So that makes a lot of sense that you'd be getting those kind of wind gusts in that area there. Let's see if I can, so we're looking at Gulf Shores here, and we are, yeah, so we're looking almost due south at this point, and there's another cell out there right now. We're not looking at the storm that's got the severe thunderstorm warning on it currently. I'll kind of turn the camera towards that direction real quick. Okay, well, you don't want to look that direction too much because we got a pole right there, but that's kind of going back in the direction of the warned storm that came through here earlier. But as we pan back over towards the east and then towards the southeast, we got more storms out in the Gulf that we'll be kind of keeping an eye on as they come in, or they come on shore here. Again, that's Gulf Shores. We will switch over to Orange Beach now. And again, we were looking at this camera for a good while earlier when we had the tornado warning. We never really were able to pick anything out. Of course, it was, tons of rain everywhere with this, so you never really could pick out a tornado or any sort of the low-hanging clouds or anything. You just couldn't see anything that much, outside of a few minutes of time where we got a little bit of a better view here and there. But let's see which direction we are looking. Let me kind of point us back off. Kind of looking back off to the northwest right now. Let's see what I can see over this direction here. Yeah, so still just a lot of gray. I'll kind of look back off towards the Gulf here, see if we can peer out and see anything. Shift that back this direction a little bit. All right, so at least make it where you can kind of get a frame of reference here. And obviously looking at at what's happening with the waves there, you can see it's a very rough day out there. And not that anybody would want to be walking on the beach with it raining like this anyway. But as we've mentioned before, there's double red flags at the beach today, or at least red flags, universally. Not a day you need to be in the water with the combination of the storms coming through, the wave action, the high surf, the rip currents. We got rip current statements, high surf advisory, kind of the running the gamut there as far as coastal advisories. That another reason to just kind of stay out of there. It's dangerous for today for sure. Bill, you got?
Yeah, you could go to WEX 05 now, Drew, and see Allie Garrett's video. I hope, well, maybe not. I haven't shared it yet. Yeah, I've got it pulled up, but I haven't.
Okay.
We haven't done the most important step.
All right. We will
which is to
go back there shortly and keep watching.
To share that with you. So let's see if I can do that real quick, and see if that will maybe give you that.
All right, tell me when you want me to swap back over.
Try
there.
and look and see if you see it now on WEX 05.
There we go.
There we go. This is Allie Garrett looking back toward Ono, and we clearly, Drew, have a tornado there.
Huh, yeah.
And this is from our colleague John Olshew, who is gathering data for us down there on the Alabama coast. And we thank you so much, Allie. This is invaluable. This is the ground truth that we need to let us know that, we're all this information that we're getting, from our sensors is really working. And this and Jeff Jacobs' report of a 57-mile-per-hour gust, tells us that, that really probably was a tornado that was touching the ground there, Drew, on Ono Island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least it was really close. If it wasn't, certainly looked like it was. And of course, we haven't heard of any official reports of damage or anything yet. Not to say that it may not be coming, but so we'll continue to monitor all of our different channels of communication on that. I'm going to check our Skywatchers real quick. Don't see anything new from them at this point. Let's see here.
And we continue, to keep our mariners informed, Drew, because, they're an important part of what we're doing here at the Alabama Weather Network. We want to increasingly be a valuable tool to them. But the Weather Service in Mobile just issuing a new special marine warning for the coastal waters from Pensacola to Pascagoula and out 20 nautical miles and the Perdido Bay area for all this, water spouts, wind gusts 34 knots or greater. It is not the day, as you were just talking about, Drew, to be out on the water, either in the open Gulf or on our protected bays and sounds because of these thunderstorms.
Yeah, you can see that, pulled that up there. There's the new marine warning that, like you said, goes until 1:15. And yeah, you got a very heavy cell there, and it's got a little bit of a kind of a hook shape to it. I'll assume that one's probably circulating a little bit as well, like the rest of them have been. I'll just go ahead and put a quick lapse on that there. And again, still very heavy rain falling over Orange Beach and the points to the north of there. And, Gulf Shores itself, kind of the eastern side of Gulf Shores has gotten some pretty heavy rain. As you go further to the west towards Fort Morgan, you haven't seen as much so far. There's definitely been some rain, but it hasn't been nearly as heavy further to the west. But it looks like Gulf Shores, if this continues to go to the north, we'll get a pretty heavy rainfall here fairly shortly. And we'll take a quick look at the velocity product with that, with this little cell coming on shore here soon, and see if there's anything happening with that. It looks like there's a little bit, but I would say it's not looking as suspicious as some of the ones we've seen. But there's still, the atmosphere has got enough shear and rotation, within rotation kind of within the, as you move up in the atmosphere, and difference in wind speed as well, that you certainly are. That's why we're getting these rotations moving through here. And then we've got just enough instability around this warm front or south of this warm front to help try to produce a few of these circulating little supercells. But it's still kind of a marginal sort of setup. This is not a high-end sort of day, but there's just enough there to produce a few issues here right along the coast, where we've kind of maximized the combination of both the shear and also the little bit of instability that we have to work with here in that. And then again, the front, anytime you have a kind of a boundary at the surface, so like kind of at ground level with a warm front or cold front or any other sort of smaller boundaries, that a lot of times can serve as a focus for rotating thunderstorms and potentially creating tornadoes. And so I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. But yeah, that marine warning is it's a pretty rough thunderstorm out there, and there's been a good bit of lightning with that one. We had not seen as much lightning with the cell that had the tornado warning as it went further to the north, but there's still a good bit of strikes happening out here with the storm that's offshore still. So I'm sure, hopefully there's not many people trying to be out on small crafts out there for sure, but definitely a rough go of it currently out there offshore. And then I'll take a quick look, and I see a little bit of red there showing up on the reflectivity, or I'm sorry, on the velocity. Let me actually zoom that back in there. Nothing too tight looking with that, but still, just a little bit of spin to the storm there as it very slowly moves in. So, did you have something, Bill?
Yeah, the tornado watch is going to be extended until 2 p.m., Drew, for Baldwin and Escambia counties, not Mobile. I was doing a little bit of mesoscale analysis. Of course, this, is being caused, Drew, by a big lobe of vorticity, spin in the atmosphere that's kind of swinging through. Our upper low is back near Tulsa, Oklahoma. It really kind of boggles your mind how the atmosphere works. And this is, going to slowly continue working east today. So the Weather Service in Mobile extending the tornado watch until 2 o'clock, very surgically, for Baldwin and Escambia counties. Baldwin in Alabama, Escambia in Florida, not Escambia, Alabama. So let me make that clear. Escambia, Florida, which of course includes Pensacola, but Baldwin, including Foley, Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, all these areas until 2 o'clock today. Shout out to my friend Joe Freeman. He texted me. They're watching us in Orange Beach, Drew, and said thank you for the coverage. So you're doing a great job over there.
Yeah, well, you too as well, Bill. It's appreciate. Yeah, we're kind of tag teaming this thing today, and I don't know if we mentioned this before. Been doing a bunch of stuff here, but with that video we got earlier too, I think Brett Adair, our friend and field meteorologist, was able to help get a hold of some of that video with the tornado as well, and so we're grateful to have his help in these kind of situations as well. And it looks like we might have just seen the update on the tornado watch. I don't see it showing 2 p.m. yet, but I just saw Mobile drop off.
Yep.
And I know as you were talking, I saw that the Weather Service was mentioning they were currently working on that extension, so they're kind of feverishly inputting that into their system, and then that'll get pushed out. So, but yeah, we at least already see that Mobile has been removed from the watch, like Bill mentioned, and then it still remains, I guess at this point now, we just only have Baldwin County as far as Alabama counties that are still in that watch for now, I guess a couple more hours until 2 p.m. Central Time there. So, yeah, that'll be our main kind of zone of interest here for the next few hours, and let's hope that's it as far as tornado watches. I can't guarantee that. There's a window, I think that we could still see a little bit more activity later on this afternoon and evening. We'll continue to be watching things as this trough kind of moves in, or we may have another kind of low of energy coming through later on that could provide some additional shear and lift. We'll see if the instability is still around enough to do much with it. And that could, if that were to happen, we might have a little bit more chance of something further to the north than where we're talking about now, getting in on some action with some thunderstorms. But it is not a guarantee at this point. So let's see here. I see a new update from the Weather Service about being concerned with the way that the storms are setting up from a flooding perspective. Getting really high rainfall rates. Again, we've mentioned we had a report of over 5 inches, some roads flooding. So they're getting more concerned about, just given the orientation of the way the storms are moving, that there could be some significant flash flooding that begins to occur if the rain does not let up here in the near future. And you can see as we're relapsing this here, that the area that you've got the flash flood warning, I'll just kind of circle that real quick. There's some of this area right here that's seen some of the heaviest rain already. You've got this cell coming up, kind of heading in that general direction. So it doesn't look like the torrential rain is going to let up much, over the next 30 minutes to an hour or so if this continues to stay together. Of course, we'll still be watching it as far as any sort of rotation and potential tornadic issues. But really right now, this is at this point, more of a rain issue and a flooding issue in Orange Beach and the surrounding areas than other issues, or looks like as far as wind damage or potential tornadoes. But that can change quickly. But at least that's kind of what we're seeing at this point as we watch these cells move through here. So we'll hope that they, again, it's one of those things that's like you wish you could spread some of the rain, out a little bit more, and like, okay, we've had enough here. Let's move this somewhere else in the state that could use lots of rain. But again, we're getting pretty good beneficial rain, up further to the north, and that's been something that's been good about this for sure. Is that west central part of the state has gotten a good bit of rain and continues to get a good bit of rain. In fact, while we're talking about it, let's just take a look at the rain totals with that real quick over the last. We'll give it about like 6 hours or so. So you can see there's obviously a bullseye down here in the area where we've got the flash flooding. But if we sample some of the totals that are in parts of Choctaw and Sumter counties and Greene and in the Hale counties and places like that, we've gotten maybe over an inch so far, and there's more to come. So you can see there are some heavier totals back to the southwest, some really heavy totals in parts of Mississippi from earlier this morning. But we're still pretty early on, and we're getting some pretty good rainfall totals in some of those areas that could use the rain. So we will definitely take the win on that. You don't really see much else further to the north. Looks like, there are some trace rainfall amounts further into the northwestern part of the state so far. There hadn't been a whole lot reach into central Alabama and places like the Birmingham metro, but there's a little bit, and so we'll continue to expect that to continue. And this is there's going to be waves of rain. I think many spots will not see constant rain the entire time over the course of the day today. You may get a break or two. But what we could see, and what the models have been kind of hinting at, is that you might have a round that moves through kind of during this time frame, and then we might see a little bit of a break, and we might see some kind of reformation of some rain and some thunderstorms as that secondary sort of wave with this trough comes through, and we get a little bit extra lift later on, tonight and into the overnight hours. So just because you might see the rain end here in a little bit, like especially we're talking just looking right now, you're starting to clear some things out in parts of Lamar County, getting close. You'll eventually do that in Fayette County and parts of Winston and Franklin County. So you might in Lauderdale and places like that, and Colbert, some of those might start to clear out here fairly soon, but there's still chance of more rain coming. It's not necessarily done yet as far as the rain, so we'll continue to hope that all the places that need significant and beneficial rain will get that. All right, looks like they, seeing Bill, I don't know if you are seeing this, that they have dropped the severe thunderstorm warning in Baldwin County, it appears.
That's correct. The Weather Service in Mobile has officially canceled the severe thunderstorm warning, and that is great news, Drew, because the reflectivities and the rotation has really come down from a severe standpoint, but the flooding threat is still there. The heavy rain is lined up. You see, we still have some really heavy rainfall amounts. A lot of it in the bay right there south of Lillian. This is edging ever so slowly to the east now, toward the 98 bridge, but we've got a lot more rain in the Gulf, south of Gulf Shores, 35 miles offshore, and that's still got to come on shore, Drew, over the next few hours. So this is, we're going to have to watch and see what the trajectories are, where that comes on shore, but it clearly appears that it's going to be affecting these same areas from really just west of Gulf Shores through that area and over to Orange Beach and then Perdido and then to Pensacola, and we've also got some coastal flood problems, Drew, like around Fort Pickens, so when you get the Gulf agitated, it's never a good thing. I was really shocked when I saw the Skycam yesterday. When the first light of day came. I think it was the craziest I had seen the surf the whole time we've been doing the network, over the 2.5 months. It really got my attention, and this morning it was even more so. So, the Gulf is no place to be today. You don't want to be in the water. You don't want to be out on a boat. And, if you live in these low-lying areas where you get flood-prone conditions, you don't want to be driving around today. Because remember, the easiest to remember mantra is turn around, don't drown. Saving a few minutes is not worth your life if you're trying to get somewhere.
Yep, absolutely. That's that's definitely looking like that's the kind of thing we got to worry about the most and need everyone to pay attention to the most, is that it's just not a time to be getting out there along the Alabama Gulf Coast, specifically Orange Beach at this point. Gulf Shores, you're getting, looks like the heavy rain has kind of come on shore in Gulf Shores now too, so I might switch over to the Gulf Shores camera real quick just to take a quick look at what it looks like currently. But it looks like it should be engulfed in heavy rain at this point. Yep, so you got rain on the lens, and you can see the Gulf still there, but you've got this cell now coming on shore here that is looking pretty heavy. And looking off towards the west, just wanted to take a quick look you have a cell that kind of went over the western side of Dolphin Island, and actually some of it's still lingering there over parts of Dolphin Island right now. And it has a little bit of a look to it, like it's trying to rotate as well. We'll take a quick look at the velocity. Nothing too significant looking at this point, but it still might be trying to do that. But it's moving, most of that's now kind of moving north of Dolphin Island, but moving towards places like Bayou Battery eventually. But so more heavy rain, even though we're not in that tornado watch in Mobile County at this point, we'll still continue to watch any of the cells here that are coming on shore. And to just kind of mention, we haven't really talked about this lately. I'm kind of scrolling back the radar. So, we had that tornado warning that went until 11:30 for Jackson County, Mississippi. And we were talking about whether they might extend it to Mobile County. We didn't think they would, and it turns out, they didn't. And so that cell sort of fell apart. And so you're seeing a lot of what we talked about in that particular area, at least, where as the cells move east and north, they're really dying down, and they don't have the same sort of environment to work with as they get north of that warm front. And so yeah, a lot of Mobile County at this point is actually not seeing rain, whereas you've got other places where you're seeing very heavy rain currently. But yeah, it looks like a lot of Mobile County at this point, and also Washington County, are mostly rain-free. There's a few places that are getting a little bit of rain, but further to the north again, you're getting some pretty good rainfall up in Escambia County and up into Conecuh and Monroe counties, up into Wilcox County and Marengo counties, and so we're definitely getting the kind of rainfall that we want in those areas. And again, a little bit too much down here in the Orange Beach area and parts of South Baldwin County. Although it does look like here just recently, some of the heavier rain has kind of shifted east of Orange Beach, but the only problem, again, you've got this lurking offshore here that still could come on shore in Orange Beach proper here very, very shortly. So maybe it might have slowed down a little bit, especially, well, it looks like right along the beach, it's still raining pretty hard. A little bit further north, it's kind of taking a little bit of a break, but you're still getting plenty of heavy rainfall in these areas where we're under that flash flood warning, and then also the flood advisory as well. So again, you've got an aerial flood advisory that extends through kind of this whole portion of southeastern Baldwin County and over, and it looks like into Florida as well, that expires at 2:45. The flash flood warning also expires at 2:45. So that is the current situation with that. But and then we've still got that marine warning for the storm that's offshore, and it actually, you can see the marine warning actually extends into the bay as well, because you've got so much heavy rain falling over that area as well. So definitely, I don't think anybody's generally going to be trying to get out in this weather, but you definitely don't want to be doing anything like that for sure, as far as our marine interests. So I guess at this point, Bill, thinking we may take a break from our coverage for a second, unless we've got any reports coming in or anything else we need to show. And maybe we'll continue to provide updates as far as the potential flooding situation. But I don't know if we're seeing any other reports or anything that we need to pass along.
Yeah, one just disturbing video of flooding on Canal Road in front of Coastal in Orange Beach. Drew, the water is well up on the tires of the cars there, so that we were kind of fearing that, and what we hate to see as weather professionals, people driving through it. So please communicate the message. Turn around, don't drown. It's not worth ruining your car, or losing your life, for sure. And I don't know if you can pull up WEX 05. Just we're going to see storm anxiety. Drew, is always an issue, and creepy looking clouds. This is from Nashville. Britt Crumpler. But these are going to be showing up all over northeast and east central Alabama in this drier air, and people see them and they, oh, is this a wall cloud? Is this a funnel? Is this dangerous? No, it's just a creepy looking cloud. So we are going to see showers and thunderstorms, as you were alluding to earlier, developing later this afternoon, tonight, over central and north Alabama. We don't know exactly where yet, but it's going to be beneficial rain, and it will not be strong or severe. You may hear thunder tonight, and we'll be watching the weather just to make sure, but the environmental conditions are just not there for severe weather. So you can rest easy. Remember your first line of defense, Drew, a NOAA weather radio. I know, a lot of people want to take them and chunk them through the window when they go off, in the middle of the night for a whatever, but they're there to save your life. So please make sure you have one. It's your smoke detector for severe weather. And your second line of defense is our Alabama Weather Network app. Please get it, download it. It has tons of great features, and we're constantly working to refine it. There are about 1,300,000 different ways you can configure the alerts, Drew. You can turn off the ones you don't want. You can turn on only the ones that you care about. And, please do that, because it's extremely customizable. And, please reach out to us. There's a support mechanism there. There are a couple of different ways on the app that you can reach out to us, and we'll get back to you and help you get the most out of that app, because there's forecasts, there's an interactive radar. You can access our statewide product when you don't have time to watch the channel. We appreciate you being here on the channel, because the channel's very important to us. But please do that. It's a labor of love for us. We care very deeply about all 5.2 million people that live in the state of Alabama, and all those folks that surround us in the Panhandle, in Georgia, Tennessee, those counties in Mississippi, and we want to be here for you. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to serve you.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill, and definitely echo that. And one thing I did want to pass along, and we might stick around for a little bit longer just to talk about this, do see that the Weather Service in Mobile has upgraded the flash flood warning here in the last 5 or 6 minutes to a considerable flash flood warning. And so basically just kind of upping the language here because of how much rain has fallen and how much they still expect to fall. So the rain radar and rain gauge indications were that the heavy rain across the area has basically between 3 and 7 inches of rain have already fallen. And there's basically 2 to 4 inches are still possible within the area of the flash flood warning, which, again, looking at your screen here, is the area outlined in that light blue polygon there. That's your flash flood warning. And it so because of that, they've upped it to a considerable tag, just meaning that it's life-threatening flash flooding, and you need to take extra precautions or to be just extra careful and avoid flooded areas due to that. So it looks like Orange Beach, Lillian, Perdido Beach, Alberta, Josephine, Caswell, and Mifflin are all places within that flash flood warning that has now been enhanced.
Yeah, and that raises a really important point, Drew, for us, because that triggers the WIA alerts. And a baseline flash flood warning does not make your phone go off, for those WIA alerts. So now your phones are going off in southern Baldwin County. And another thing, Drew, that's another one of those lines of protection. Please don't turn those off. Some people tell us they don't want to receive those, but yeah, you do. Those are really important, because you need to know that information. If you're out and about traveling, you could just be going to lunch at the beach or, heading home or whatever. Gives you the opportunity to stop and see what's going on. Stop and check, because someday it may save your life, and it's really, really important. But that's another part of the process, is when the Weather Service does that, when they upgrade that tag. It's just a part of the warning. As soon as they do that, then it triggers the emergency alert process that makes your cell phone go off. So if you were sitting in a restaurant or driving along in your car, everybody in the car, their cell phone all went off at the same time, Drew, and probably scared everybody to death. But it's an important part of the warning process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we definitely recommend that you take advantage of, and like Bill said, don't turn it off. But that, and just taking a look here, just with that, the context of this considerable flash flood warning that they have continued and have upgraded from the Weather Service. Here are an updated look at the rain totals for the past 3 hours. And so we just looked at this. I feel like it wasn't that long ago, and the totals were still significant, but we now are looking at the last 3 hours and all these areas kind of within that eastern part of that polygon. Here's the edge of the polygon right here. So you have Orange Beach itself. We've got multiple spots where there's estimates of almost 4 to 5 or maybe almost 6 inches that are really close to Perdido Pass. I mean, some of the heaviest band, and again, also where that rotation went through, that in that at least funnel that we were able to see on the video, that same area is getting some of the heaviest rain there. So again, the western part of Ono Island has got some of that. You've got Josephine there, Perdido Beach, all getting 4 or 5 inches of rain. And I believe I just saw from, so we mentioned earlier that one of our sky watchers, Brandon Woods, was in the area earlier when we had the tornado warning, and he's reporting that he saw minimal debris on the roadway in Orange Beach, but nothing that really indicated to him that there was a tornado touchdown. And this is from probably about 15 minutes ago, but he even mentioned he ran into a little bit of hail east of Orange Beach in the Ono Island area. I haven't been looking at it too closely, but there have been some really high reflectivity values with especially some of the stuff I've seen offshore. So, it's not typical to get hail there along the coast. So if that's the case, that's even more just indication of how intense these thunderstorms are as they are coming inland here. So and it looks like we just got an update to this product, and now it is showing 6 inches there as having fallen there, right there close to Perdido Pass, which is kind of on the eastern side of it. But any of the areas and the developments and the condos and everything that's in that area are seeing very significant rainfall. And again, there's been reports of flooding, road flooding, and so as we've mentioned multiple times, no reason to be trying to get out in this at this point. You don't want to try to mess with it. It's a significant event at this point, and so need everybody to just kind of hunker down, hang tight, and not be trying to venture out yet. But yeah, again, here's just a look at just the last hour or so of the radar and how much just constant rain has continued to fall in some of these areas.
And you're gonna, as it moves into the Pensacola metro area, Drew, it's going to be, that's going to produce some big problems in that metro area because obviously there are some places in Pensacola that are quite prone to flooding. Shout out to my friend Rusty Price, her husband Paul, on Ono. They live on Ono. They've been through their share of big weather events, Drew, over the years. Rusty had to walk through several hurricanes with me over the years down there in Gulf Shores, and I appreciate everything she's always been in terms of a true and dedicated weather watcher from the Alabama Gulf Coast. So shout out to Rusty and Paul today.
Yep, absolutely, and just everybody that's down there, we are definitely concerned and just want to make sure everybody is safe and making good choices when it comes to getting out in this. And so like we've said before, just a good day to hang tight, keep an eye on the weather. Obviously, want you keep an eye on us, but have us on, but maybe have a book if you're or read a book or whatever if you're at the beach. Maybe you can kind of have us going and keep an eye on whether you need to take shelter or anything. But while you try to enjoy some inside time here, because it's definitely not looking like we're going to get any nice weather at the beach here anytime soon. Yeah, although I will say Fort Morgan has, not to say there hadn't been rain and there hadn't been some nearby thunderstorms and things like that, but I'd say they've done a little bit better today so far as far as just not getting hit by heavy thunderstorms and torrential rain and having to worry about a tornado warning or anything like that. But still the day's not over yet, so there's still possible. And actually now that I go back a little bit further, they've gotten a little bit of rain there, but still I'd say hadn't quite worked out exactly the same as it has elsewhere, especially further to the east, obviously in Orange Beach and those areas where there's been a lot more rain. And again, as we've mentioned earlier, you've got showers that are falling over Mobile County at this point, but we don't have any warnings over that way, and we don't have any imminent warnings to the west of there like we did earlier. A lot of this is sort of falling apart. I mean, yes, there's still some showers there, but the heavy, strong and tornadic, severe thunderstorms that we saw a couple of hours ago have weakened and kind of fallen apart there as they got moved north of the warm front. And so thankfully, yes, there's some heavy rain there falling right there kind of in the southeastern corner near Alabama Port and kind of just north of the Dauphin Island Bridge. Again, Bayou Battery's seen a few waves and about to get some heavy rain again. As you move up toward the north, Bellefontaine, Smithport, and eventually moving up towards Mobile itself, this little cell might end up bringing some more rain up into Mobile proper. But again, we're not in the tornado watch in Mobile County, so we're not expecting as much in the way of rotating storms or anything like that. That is a threat that we're seeing more to the east now. And again, we've kind of transitioned more to a flood threat. I'll take a quick look just out into the Gulf here, and it does look like it's become a little bit more, I don't know if I'd say totally stratiform, but the rain has become a little bit more just widespread down there. You don't have as many individual cells, but we'll just take a quick look and see if whether we see any rotation. Yeah, there's still, you still got a little bit of spin there happening with some of those storms. And now these that we're talking about down here are still pretty well offshore, but they're producing a good bit of lightning and got a little bit of rotation, although broad, I would say at this point. But those we'll just do a quick measurement. That's still good 30, 40 miles offshore at this point. So it'll be a while before those are super close. But Bill, you got something?
Yeah, new flash flood warning for Escambia County, Florida, Drew, just like we were talking about. The Weather Service in Mobile beginning to get concerned for the Pensacola metro area now. And that's really where we could begin to see some real significant widespread problems, as this band of heavy rains has a history of producing 3 to 6 inch rainfall amounts. And so now the Weather Service in Mobile issuing that flash flood warning that will go until 3:30 this afternoon. 3 inches of rain already in some places, another 2 to 4 inches to go. So yeah, it's just beginning for those folks. And Drew, like you said, there's still a lot of activity out in the Gulf there, about some 25 to 30 miles offshore, extending out to over 100 miles out offshore. So all this is going to come on shore in places like Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, areas onto the east over the next several hours for sure. And then I thought yesterday we would see a second very pronounced round about 6, 7 o'clock this evening in the Alabama coastal zone, Drew, but that doesn't look as likely with our most recent model runs. But there still could be some scattered storm development. And I think the instability levels may come up a bit if that front is able to kind of work its way on shore. And we're just really grateful that we haven't had to deal with a Gulf hurricane. We're watching this monster in the Western Caribbean, Hurricane Melissa. Top wind's 140 miles an hour. It's going to be a humanitarian disaster for the island of Jamaica. And we've just been very, very lucky. But Drew, if you get a second, pull up links to I just did a weather history this week about biodebauchery. I know we've got storms moving into that area now, and they're not severe and they're not tornadic, but we just recently, back in 2007, had a little swarm of tornadoes that came from a system just like this. The weather history books are littered, with these kind of events. 4 fall tornadoes that moved on shore near Biodebauchery there. One up in Hale County, one in Brent, near Brent and Bibb County. And, so these things are not unusual. They're not unprecedented. And a little sneak preview for tomorrow, October 27th, 2006, a waterspout came on shore near Apalachicola and produced a tornado that did damage in the city of Apalachicola, damage to school and a hospital and a restaurant. So, to me, it's always important to look back at these events, and they can inform you about what can happen in the future. And so that's just a little bit of weather history from 20 years ago, Drew.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. That does. I think that's one of the best things about the weather histories that you're doing, is that it is kind of serve as a reminder that you've got some times of the year that you don't necessarily expect to have tornadoes or whatever type of event it may be, but that it's especially in our state, it's pretty much any time of year you can get it. You have a typical season that, like we talked about earlier, we're about to get into for tornadoes starting in November, but yeah, things can occur outside of that, and of course we're obviously very close to that now. But yeah, it's good to always kind of keep that in perspective, as you're thinking about the potential for whatever weather situation it might be there.
And a shout out to our colleague Jen Nairmore, who's really done a lot of the research, taken my weather history database and has built some of these graphics for me, Drew. It's really, really helpful, to build these things. Look at that radar, Drew. That looks so primitive compared to what we have today. Mm-hmm. We have so many more tools at our fingertips, and we're so grateful. But boy, Doppler radar was such a game changer for us. I remember Dr. Joe Golden, this will really date me, 1973, he sent me a preprint. I wrote him a nice letter when I was a 12-year-old kid, asking for information on severe weather, and he sent me something on the Union City tornado, which of course was a game-changing event in 1973, about the future of Doppler radar. And I didn't understand 1/1,000,000th of what was in it, Drew, but I tell you, that book right there was the future. And there's no telling how many lives have been saved by that technology.
Yeah, no, it's amazing what we have access to now, and how that allows us to communicate the weather and the current situation in a way that can help to make people to make the right decisions and save lives. And so it is cool to look back. And speaking of that kind of thing, something that I think was known about for a while, but I think we've gotten better at picking up on in the last decade or so is gravity waves. And so I just saw where the National Weather Service in Birmingham was watching and this has been, that's actually been about an hour ago now that they first started watching it, but the National Weather Service in Birmingham was watching for the possibility of a gravity wave on the backside of the precip that was near the Mississippi and Alabama border, which when you get that kind of situation, you can end up with some strong gusty winds on the backside of it's not necessarily heavy rain, it can be light rain or moderate rain, but kind of a batch of rain that moves through, and you get these kind of wave-like features that can produce some really heavy winds at ground level. And so they actually ended up getting a 46. Oh yeah, I'll pull that up in a second, Bill. Yeah, Bill's got something we'll show you here in a second. So looks like there was a 46 knot gust in East Mississippi near Meridian, I guess, or no, okay, that was East Mississippi, KNJW. And then there were like 27, 28 knot gusts near Meridian. And so what I'm looking at here, what I'm showing you currently, is kind of the current location of that gravity wave. Let's see, the velocity here showing estimates of 40 up to 47, 46, 56 miles per hour gusts. We're from the radar, we're looking at the Columbus radar right now. We're about 2,000 feet off the ground or so. So again, you could certainly be getting some 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts here in parts of, especially right now. Now, I already came through Lamar County, but like portions of Fayette County, near Fayette, near Berry, Pickens County, near Reform and Gordo and Carrollton and Aliceville, and moving into North Tuscaloosa County here pretty soon, you could be getting some really gusty winds kind of as the rain's ending in those areas. And looking at the reflectivity, again, you can see that it's, you've got some moderate rain falling in some of these areas, but a lot of it's fairly light, and then all of a sudden you get some really heavy winds, almost like you're in a thunderstorm. So yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing here. And I'm going to pull up, I think Bill's got it pulled up on one of our other systems here, the current wind gust map. And yeah, there it is. You can see we've got gusts up to around 32 miles an hour in Tuscaloosa, around 36 in Demopolis, 36 in Selma. And, it's been a windy couple of days, especially yesterday and then today. Anyway, yeah, you're seeing some of those gusts, and I think that's likely is coming from the backside of and sort of that gravity wave feature there. So don't be surprised if you get some really gusty winds as the rain's ending, especially if you're in parts of kind of western Alabama at this point, or at least on the west edge of the precip as it moves to the east. So yeah, that's interesting to take a look at that. All right, so Bill, you got something?
Yeah, and one thing I always, since I was a little kid, looked at were the pressure couplets. And one thing you get in the reports, from the ASOS, when you get a pressure couplet, the pressure falling rapidly, pressure rising rapidly on the backside, that's an indication of that gravity wave, and that's what we're getting right now from our stations in Meridian, Demopolis. And we did have, Drew, we had a wind gust to 40 knots. It occurred at Joe Williams Naval Outlying Field there northwest of Meridian, which would, of course, 46 knots. Did you say that? I might have missed you saying that.
Yeah, I think that's what the Weather Service had put it, so that must be the same one, I would assume.
Yeah, so that would have been, what, a 53 mile per hour, is that right? Did that peak wind?
Sounds about right. I think I'll trust you on that.
52, 53 miles per hour. And James Spann never stops working. The man never stops working. He's got a video for us from Bayou St. John. This potential tornado, it appears. If you take WEXO 5, you'll see it, Drew.
It's up now? Okay.
I think it should be there.
Yep, I see it. Yep.
This is courtesy of Angie Luckmeyer. She took it from Bayshore Towers in Orange Beach, looking back over Bayou St. John.
Yep.
And that it clearly appears to be a rotating column of air in contact with the ground, Drew. Now we'll have to see if the Weather Service in Mobile can send out some assessment crews to see if we actually have tornado damage in this area. It's not probably, you can't tell from a video, Drew, how strong it is or what rating it is. It's not going to be a big tornado, but obviously, if you were in the middle of that, you could have been injured, and there could be damage to your property for sure. So thank you so much, Angie. We never want you to put yourself in harm's way when there's bad weather in the area, but if you can safely do so and can send it to us, we really, really appreciate it, and it helps us. But again, never ever put yourself in harm's way to get video. Take care of yourself and your family first, and then just let us know what you saw later. But if you can safely send images or video, that always is helpful to us.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. And yeah, that's some really incredible video there. And yeah, so it certainly looks like if it's not on the ground, it's about as close as it can be. You don't really see any debris necessarily. Again, it's kind of hard to tell for sure, but it'll be interesting to see what the Weather Service finds and whether we do actually get any reports of any sort of damage in that area in the coming minutes and hours here as we get through the rest of the day. But again, I haven't seen any reports yet of that. But obviously that was about as close as you can get and not touch down if it didn't somehow touch down there. It's certainly trying to. But yeah, that's some incredible video there, and it's right where we thought it was going to be. And so you can see some of the wind flowing into the circulation there, into the near tornado or tornado. You can see the kind of it moving across the bayou, I guess, there. And so just, yeah, that's some really very helpful video there for sure. I'm going to switch back over to the radar here and talk about, we've got obviously we've still got our flash flood warning in effect. A lot of the heavier rain there's still areas that are getting it, that have been getting it for a long time, but it's moved a little bit further to the east, I'd say, at this point. But, well, you still, just to the east of Perdido Pass, it's still going pretty good, but it's kind of slowly moved over here. Perdido Beach is still getting it pretty good. They had really high rain totals, I think close to 4 or 5 inches is what the estimates have been there. Right kind of in the heart of Orange Beach itself, it is still raining, but it's not as heavy right now. But you've got some really heavy rain just offshore. Gulf Shores itself is still at least right there near kind of the center of Gulf Shores is not seeing a lot yet. But as you move further to the west, we've actually got a heavier cell now that's moved onshore in kind of the western part of Gulf Shores, and then some of those areas as you head towards Fort Morgan, around the lagoon there, getting some really heavy rains. And so again, there's still some significant rainfall occurring, but I'm hoping it'll continue to shift ever so slightly to the east. Now, one thing I did want to mention down here is we've got, you've got a little bit of a hook here in this storm. Again, where this whole thing is just kind of a massive thunderstorm. But right here on the tail end of it, you're getting a little bit of a rotation, you're getting a little bit of uptick in lightning, and we are seeing a little bit of a rotation on that one again. So we're going to pull that back up here. Yeah, so haven't really been seeing as much rotation with some of these recently, but this one seems to have seen a little bit of an uptick, or actually it's kind of cycled. You had some there a little bit further to the northwest, and then it's kind of moved back and cycled back to the east, southeast a little bit and sort of reformed a new circulation. And again, we may continue to see that, and hopefully so. Hopefully we'll just keep those circulations kind of collapsing and coming back right there just south of the coast and staying offshore if we can keep them there. Just kind of a lot of this has to do with this position of this warm front that's very kind of close by in this area. But that was something we'll continue to watch, and haven't seen, I don't think, anything from the Mobile office on that. But I think they're, again, still at this point most concerned about the rain with this. But obviously we'll continue to watch any potential circulations that try to get closer to shore. But right now, at least, it's not quite there yet. But we will continue to keep an eye on it. So again, as far as active warnings right now, we'll do kind of a quick assessment here, and then unless we've got anything new or anything, we might take a break for a little bit. But just a quick assessment. So again, we've still got that flash flood warning in effect. I'm going to go ahead and stop this and put us back to our reflectivity real quick. So we've got the flash flood warning still in effect for southeastern Baldwin County, and then it also goes into the southwestern part of Escambia County, Florida, and those go until the part of it in Alabama is until 2:45. The part of it in Florida is until 3:30. Either way, about the same time frame there. So we still got another couple hours left on the flash flood warning as this rain is still in the area. Then you've also got that aerial flood advisory that's further to the west. I mean, it's not been raining nearly as much in that area lately as compared to when it was first issued. Still goes until 1:30. So still generally, southern Baldwin County, you just generally want to kind of stay home, if you're down there visiting, stay in your place that you're staying, and it's not a good day to venture out due to the weather that's happening there. And again, over in southern Mobile County, getting some heavy rain now in parts of southern Mobile County by La Battery, currently getting some pretty good rain. Looks like near Point Clear and getting closer to Fair. I hope you're getting some rain. And Mobile itself hadn't seen much lately, but I think there's been a few passing showers here and there. But again, that's kind of our as of right now, these are the only, this flash flood warning is the only true warning that is active for Alabama right now. We'll zoom back out just to let you take a look here. And I'll put it back on our national radar view here and just give a quick loop to that. So again, the southwestern part of the state is where we've been focusing because we've had the warnings down there, we've had some circulations, we've had some flash flooding, but elsewhere, again, beneficial rain is really the main story, especially in west central Alabama. That's getting some of the best rain right now, and that's really good because that's where the worst drought generally has been. Lighter showers as you move up towards the north. The Birmingham Metro just getting fairly light showers at this point. Huntsville Metro, kind of the same thing. As you move more to the northeast, some of this that's showing up on the radar might not even be reaching the ground yet because the air mass has been a good bit drier in northeastern and eastern Alabama, so it may take a little bit longer for the rain to start actually reaching the ground in some of those areas where it's really light right now. But hopefully continue to moisten things up so we can get some good rain everywhere, and hopefully we can get a little bit less in some of these areas we're getting these warnings now. But Bill, is there anything else you have before we maybe take a little break for a little bit and then we'll have another update later? Is anything else we need to pass along? Or
no major developments, just the rotation offshore there that is southwest of Johnson Beach. The Weather Service in Mobile talking about, most of the threat now is going to shift into the Florida Panhandle from a severe weather standpoint. Drew, as we kind of expected, this flooding threat is going to be there as well. We're going to continue to watch that rotating cell that is about 10, 15 miles southeast of Orange Beach right now. It's going to come on shore there near Johnson Beach over toward the Pensacola Beach area as well. And they'll have to deal with it in that area. But the good news is this activity continues to kind of shift east of Alabama. And hopefully we'll, we feel a real affinity for our friends on the, and have a lot of our folks that vacation along the Northwest Florida coast too. So we'll be watching it very closely and carefully, even though it's not our, direct coverage area. We'll be watching it throughout the afternoon into the evening. You see those flash flood warnings there. They mean business. Still got heavy rain coming on shore there from Gulf Shores over to Orange Beach. Another round still to go. And I was just looking at the ocean. That's really one of the headlines, Drew. This high surf advisory, the rip current alerts. We've got double red flags flying. I know for sure in Baldwin and Okaloosa. Small craft advisory, special marine warnings that are in effect. We want to make sure you've got waves breaking well out into the ocean, and I need to shift you back around here because it's impressive. What the not only the conditions are right there at the shore, but you've got waves breaking well out in the Gulf. And we're going into a higher lunar tidal cycle here over the next 12 hours. And, the Weather Service in Mobile warning that, with this onshore component, we're probably going to have, a little bit higher, tides even than the lunar average tides over the next 12 hours or so. So it's a little bit of coastal flooding. So kind of be aware of that. So looks like a little... it looks like a very, I usually say, Drew, any day at the beach is better than any day anywhere else, but today it would be a good day to stay in and curl up with a good book, like you say.
Yep, absolutely, Bill. Same thing, Gulf Shores, I'd say same thing there too, although again, the bulk of the rain has stayed east of Gulf Shores, although it's still been raining plenty, but they've done a little bit better as far as not getting the flooding rain right there in kind of Gulf Shores proper. But yeah, it's definitely still not a nice day for the beach or anything like that. So like we said, it's a good day to kind of stay inside and stay out of harm's way. Looks like Bill's pinning it down a little bit. You can see the heavy surf there at Gulf Shores as well on our sky cam there. And looks like the wind gusts have come down a little bit from what we were seeing earlier. We got some wind gusts up into the well, it's 46 or 48 miles an hour, I think, on this
the peak
sensor here
that's been recorded has been 49.
Okay, 49.
So yeah, certainly the dew point is now 68. So definitely, and I've been watching the dew point at Pensacola. It's coming up. Drew, of course, they're in the rain, but their dew point is now 69. So it's come up several degrees over the past few hours. So that marine warm front is probably working on shore there into southwestern Escambia County. We'll be watching to see if it works its way on into the Pensacola Regional Airport area. So that's where your focus for any spinning storms is going to be over the next few hours for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Taking one more look here at Dolphin Island. Again, it's been a little bit calmer over this way. Generally, there's been a few waves of rain and maybe some thunder here and there, but still the surf is heavy. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should go hang out on the beach out in Dolphin Island, but yep, it's not currently raining, at least at the location of the camera. Doesn't look like there, but it's raining off in the distance. And but we'll take one more just quick glance at the radar, make sure nothing else has popped up on us here. Looks like we still just got our flash flood warning in effect again. If you're in southeastern Baldwin County, if you're in the Orange Beach area, if you're in the Josephine area, Perdido Bay, Perdido Beach, Lillian, all those areas of kind of the far southeastern corner of Baldwin County, just still some heavy rain still falling, and you need to just avoid the roads. And hopefully we'll start to see things start to wind down a little bit here in the next couple hours, but still could have a few more hours of waves of heavy rain. And so we'll continue to watch that. And so for now, we will, as we mentioned, Bill and I will continue to watch things here, and with any other warnings, whether it be, of course, if we get any other tornado warnings, we'll be wall to wall with those. We will break in and provide some updates for any other the flooding type of reports or warnings, or severe thunderstorm warnings, things like that. But we will continue to monitor things here in the Weather Center at the Alabama Weather Network. And so we appreciate you watching us, and we'll continue to monitor and talk to you later on today.
Live, statewide, 24/7. It's the Alabama Weather Network.
Midday kind of time frame, that's where we expect to see the heavier thunderstorms starting to fire in the southern part of the state, down in Mobile and Baldwin counties. So that's where we'll really be kind of watching things here. And you've got, again, scattered showers and thunderstorms as we get in through the afternoon and the evening. And so pretty widespread coverage of that as we get into this evening. And then things start to kind of settle down back to the west and southwest overnight, but there's still going to be